Gracias, Kat. Okay, so we just talked about how inside of every writer there's a reader. And we talked about how your fluency and your volume as a writer is really high right now. You're way higher than what we expect for a novice first year kid. However, I was telling you how to get from the sort of intermediate mid to intermediate high. We all need to work on our spelling, our grammar, and our accuracy, right? So making sure that we're not making a lot of mistakes. We don't have to be perfect, but sending you on to high school, I do want you to have as correct of a grammar and correct of a spelling ability as you can. So, we talked about how I could take your papers home on the weekend, and instead of walking my dog and hanging out with my husband and driving my daughter back and forth to Corvallis, because she doesn't have a license, she's never driven a day in her life. I don't know why, she's just not motivated. 19.
So she goes Oregon.
Yeah, and she doesn't have a license and she doesn't have a...
What?
This is disgusting.
Anyway.
She's 19. No.
I don't know.
I drive.
Anyway,
Counting the days.
instead of walking my dog and going outside when it's sunny and working in my yard and doing things around my house and taking my daughter back and forth to school because she won't get a car and she won't get a license, I could be grading your papers instead. Why am I not grading your papers? Am I lazy? Well, I am a little bit lazy, but I don't want to do something that doesn't work. And they've proven that teachers who take papers home or sit after school and grade papers, they think they're doing a lot of good work and they're patting themselves on the back because they work so hard and they think they're earning their paycheck, which is very small, by the way, kids. They're patting themselves on the back and they're saying they're such a good teacher, which there are probably great teachers. But it's sad because they could be doing other things with their time. And there's a thing that makes better writers that doesn't cost a single minute of the teacher's spare time. And it's reading books. So, I want to tell you a little bit about when we read in Spanish, what the expectations are going to be. For one, in the first term, your grade was based only on your communication in class, listening and understanding and showing me that you understand. It was all like out loud. We didn't do any reading. We wrote together, but that was it. So now, part of your grade, I haven't decided quite yet how big it is, but it's going to be a big old chunk, okay? Maybe 25, maybe 30%. Will be based on the reading that we do every day at the beginning of class, okay? So let me tell you, now that you know why it's valuable, let me tell you the behaviors that you can use and what I can observe to help me decide if you're growing as a reader. This is the same thing that we used to do in language arts, in book. So, I'll be watching to see that over the next couple weeks, actually, I'm sorry, over like the next week and a half, by next Friday, this week is really short, right? By next Friday, I'm going to want to see that you're able to make really good decisions about the type of book that you're choosing. So I don't want to see that every day you're sitting down with a book or a magazine that's too hard and you're just flipping through the pages and looking at the pictures. Pictures are great. They help you understand the words. Many of these books are full of pictures because that's what you do when you're a beginner. In kindergarten, you read a lot of books with a lot of pictures. You guys are kind of like kindergarten, first grade in Spanish. You're getting there. You're going to go faster than your average kid because you already know how to read. But right now, we need the pictures. But that's not all we need, okay? So just sitting there like flipping through the pages, if you're doing that and you can't understand the book, you need to learn about yourself as a reader. You need to think, I need to pick a book that's more comprehensible to me, that's more easy for me to understand. So that's one thing that I'll be looking for. Over the next 5 or 6 days, that you're taking your reading and you're making your own path. Some of us have different abilities. We might speak another language. We might be just stronger at figuring things out. So some of us are going to be able to read a little bit higher and some of us are needing a little bit lower. So I'm going to be watching to see that you're kind of refining or adjusting the types of books that you're choosing. So that's one thing. The other things that I'm going to be looking for are that I'm not going to ask you like, what are the new words you read? I'm not going to ask you to like write down a reading log. I'm not going to ask you to like write a summary of what you read. I'm going to watch you. And I'm going to see that your brain is on the page, that your actually like eyes are moving along the words, that you're using the pictures but not just looking at them, and that you're turning the pages at the pace of an actual reader, okay? So that's my way of making sure that you're not just wasting your reading time, but that your brain is engaging with the text. Because looking at pictures is not going to teach you any Spanish. So I'll be watching to see that you're picking better and better books for yourself, and you're knowing yourself as a reader. And we'll start outgrowing these books, and I'll start putting harder books in here for the people who are ready for them, okay? And I'll also be looking to see that you're engaging with the text, and keeping your eyes on the text, and like going back and forth with your eyes and actually reading. So that's a little bit sad for me, because in teacher school, they told us that we should read with the kids, that we would set a good example. And I like reading. I love it, actually. How do you think I got so smart? So, I love to read, but I found over the years that I don't know if I quite believe that advice. Because if I'm sitting up here enjoying gingerbread, and, you know, reading a good book, then I'm not going to be able to watch you and support you in making stronger reading decisions. So for the record, I would like to say that I love reading. It's really cool. I do it a lot, and I'm really good at it. And I'm only good at it because I practice so much. However, since I love you kids so much, I'm willing to forgo the pleasure of reading in Spanish to support you and make sure that you are getting your attention on the texts so that you can learn the language.
Gracias, profe.
De nada. It's almost like I love you more than my own self. Because I would love to be sitting up here reading too. So turn and tell your partner that I'm not reading. Dude, that was a double negative.
That means it's
But it actually made sense.
Positive.
Then it's a positive.
I'm not reading because I hate reading. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Even though it's a double negative?
It's triple negative.
Exactly. I'm not reading because I hate reading. I'm not reading so that I can help you become a stronger reader. Tell them that! They want you to read better.
Gingerbread.
Alrighty, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, Español. Okay, kids, here's my advice for you. Oh, my friend wrote this book. Thank you, Rita. Can't wait to use it. So, here's my advice to you when it's time to read, okay? One piece of advice that I have is that we can't get up during reading time. Once you get settled down back in your chair, you're not going to get up for about 8 or 9 minutes, okay? So, you should pick different types of texts, and you should pick different like levels, okay? So maybe some that are a little more challenging, maybe some that are a little easier. Speaking of things that are easier, oh, qué inteligente! Amigo, qué inteligente! ¡Qué feo! ¡Qué estúpido! ¡Qué estúpido! Oh, son tus amigos. Oh, él tiene amigos en sexto grado. Wow, amigos, amigos en sexto grado. ¿Es posible?
No es posible. I do have friends. I have friends.
I don't believe you. That does not count.
No, there are my
Guys, I got distracted. I'm sorry. I was going to tell you this. I'll tell you, but it's not going to be quite this way. I was going to tell you that you need to pick different levels of text, right? And so the easiest possible level of text that you could pick would be stories that we wrote or that other classes wrote, because it's all language that came from first-year kids. However, I don't have them today. I left them on the printer. I will have them for you tomorrow, okay? So today, I would kind of shop around, and you know, you see those little like white books down there? They're like little kindergarten books. I'd pick a couple of those. Maybe pick a couple other books. Maybe a couple magazines. So that's piece of advice number 1. Piece of advice number 2 is that you pick topics that are interesting to you, because if it's interesting to you, you actually learn better and faster, and it's more enjoyable. And piece of advice number 3 is that if you know you're a really fast reader, you can't get up for 9 or 10 minutes. You want to make sure that you have enough reading material to keep you occupied at your desk. Okay? Cav, I think we have to turn